Have any of you ever had the desire to control your dreams? I kind of had that desire when I was a teenager. I wanted to be able to go into my dream and then like create my own world and be able to control every aspect of it and like do whatever I wanted. Thought it would be like the coolest thing ever. And so I decided to go on a quest to try and find out how to do this. I went over to Google and I typed in how to control your dreams. And then I found out through Google that there was actually a term for this. That term was lucid dreaming. That basically means you're dreaming, but you know that you're dreaming and you have complete control of your dream. That's what it means to lucid dream. And so I looked up, how do I lucid dream? And there were actually a few techniques that it gave me. And one of the best techniques that I could find was basically, in real life, when you're in the waking state, you just get into the habit of constantly checking if you're in a dream. And then maybe, possibly, when you're dreaming, you'll fall into that habit and then you'll realize you're dreaming. And it gave you a few different ways to check if you're dreaming. Apparently, if you're in a dream and you look at like text or something, you won't be able to read it. You might be able to interpret it, but you won't be able to read it if you actually look at it. It will actually look like gibberish. Or if you try to look at what time it is, your brain won't be able to tell because the part of your brain that interprets time and interprets letters is not active during REM sleep or something like that. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't know if I'd ever come into a dream where I could actually look at a clock. And so there was another test you could do called the finger test. You take your index finger, and you try to push it through the palm of your other hand. And if it successfully goes through, then you're in a dream. And so I decided that was going to be my test. And so I got into the habit in my waking state, whenever I was awake, whenever I thought of the idea of maybe I'm dreaming, I would just quickly take my finger and put it into my palm and see if it went through. And most of the times it never went through, but eventually I was dreaming, and my finger was able to go through my palm. And I was like, wow, I'm dreaming. And I think at the time, the dream that I was in my old house in Kingston, and there was no one there, and it was kind of rusty and old and creepy looking. But as soon as I realized I was a dream, I was like, yeah, cool. But unfortunately, I was not able to do anything. I wasn't able to get any control because, I don't know, I guess I go into a kind of panic state when I realize I'm in a dream. I get too excited. So the first thing, I wanted to try and fly. So I started running. But then immediately as I started running, my whole body slowly went into slow motion. It was as if like the entire time frame was slowing, but my brain wasn't slowing. So it was like I just felt my body slowly freezing up, and I froze in midair. And then I woke up. And so after that, I realized I was able to do it, and that was cool. And then I kind of like lost interest and didn't do it for a long time. But then way later, like maybe 5 years later, I was actually able to do it without any of the techniques or anything. I was actually able to do it just by pure happenstance and luck, and it was a very, very interesting experience. So I'm going to talk about that. At the time, I was at Job Corps, Sacramento Job Corps, and I was lying down on my bed, and I had just woken up, and it was too early to do anything. At Job Corps, they kind of lock the doors during like the nighttime hours, so you can't really go out and do anything. You can go to the bathroom, you can take a shower, you can do anything you want in your room, but you can't do anything outside. And so like I couldn't do anything, so I decided that I was just going to go back to sleep. But for some reason, I was only like in a half sleepy state. And so in that half sleepy state, you kind of have this weird control over everything. And so as I closed my eyes, I started thinking thoughts. But instead of like the normal voice inside my head of me thinking thoughts, you know what that normal voice sounds like. It's just like kind of your own voice, but softer, and you can kind of hear it, but you kind of can't, and it's kind of weird. Instead of hearing that, I kind of heard this echoey voice. It was like the echoey voice of like another person that I had never heard before, like not my own voice at all. And then like I started making up dialogue in my head. And I realized consciously that I was doing this. Like I made up like the dialogue of like, who do you think it is? Or something like that. And it came out as a completely different voice in like a completely different space. Like the voice in your head is right in your head, but it was far away from me, like in a cave or something. And then I heard first it was a guy's voice, and then I like made up dialogue in my head of another voice, and then it was like a girl's voice, and they were talking to each other. And slowly, I just like these voices became more and more real. And then slowly, like the dream, like I just sort of fell into the dream. And then I realized I was in a basketball court, but I knew immediately that I was dreaming. I saw the two people, the boy and the girl. They were standing there talking, and so I decided I'd try like to do something cool or amazing, and so I decided I would try to grow taller. So I did. I grew taller and was able to touch the ceiling, and then I wanted to like experiment because at this point in my life I wanted to like just do research of everything and get knowledge about stuff, and so I reached over into the ceiling to see if I could feel what texture felt like, because I didn't know. Like if I'm in a dream, if I actually can feel things and they actually feel real. So I reached into the ceiling and there was this plastic stuff and it actually felt like plastic. It was really, really cool. And I was like really excited now because I was in a dream and it was so cool. And then so I shrank back down to my normal size. And then I went into a different room adjacent to the gym. And then in that room, there was this projector. And the projector was projecting some kind of anime onto the screen. And then I thought, oh my God, this is going to be so cool. I thought I was going to jump into the cartoon and see if I could actually do that. And I did. I jumped into the cartoon and then like, it was like the most amazing experience ever. I saw it slowly transform from 2D into 3D. And like the details, it still looked like a cartoon, but it was so three-dimensional and so vividly detailed. Like it looks nothing like anyone could ever see in real life. It was so cool. And then like I think there was like a food on a plate or something, and there was like a family around a table, and then like I saw the food and it just like looked so delicious and also like a cartoon, and it was so weird and cool looking at the same time. And then unfortunately I woke up. But it was a really cool and interesting experience, and yeah. I guess that's all I have with lucid dreaming. I'm not really attempting to do it at all because I just don't care. But if I ever find myself in a lucid dream, I will try to experiment and see what I can do and see what I can't do. Be very interesting. But anyways, I guess that's all I have to say. This has been the Kokino Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I don't know, leave a comment, whatever. Have a good day. Have a good life. Yeah.